Hey, it's Dan. Welcome back to I Allegedly. And I've got a good one for you today because I'm going to show you how to raise money for your business or your startup. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe to this channel. And let's get right into it. First things first, you don't treat this like you're some dreamer. I have the best idea in the world, Dan, and it's going to revolutionize everything. Wait till you see. Nope. Investors want to see proof. They want to know that you're going to be able to change a market. They're going to want to be able to know that you're different. They're going to want to know how you're going to do it. And then they will talk to you about possibly investing in your opportunity. Now, I started this and learning about this in the film business. I got to, work for a film investor, and it was fascinating. I could tell you stories all day about that and how people sell the rights to foreign markets to pay for movies. And basically, you can see a Jason Statham movie, and basically, people write very little money except for what they pay that cat. And then I got into the medical space, medtech, medical technology, and the biotech space, and started my own conference company and learned how to raise money really well through that. Now, very simple: problem, solution, and your market size. Now, here is the thing that is fascinating with medical technology, because I want to make this really clear. I'm not a doctor. I don't have a scientist background. I have a background in marketing. I'm a really good marketer. I'm great at filling a room full of people. I'm great at putting people together. I'm what you call a connective marketer. So, wow, this guy has a problem. This guy's got something different, some science. This guy has distribution, and I put those people together. That's what I am exceptional at. But one thing about the medical space that was very fascinating was you didn't get an immediate payoff. It was very difficult and very slow to get technology through. Now, what I mean by that is you could have something that would go fast, and that would take 2 years. Wow, it was lightning speed, Dan. It only took us 2 years to get to market and to get the product on the shelves. And then you have things that could take 6 and 7 years. And then you could have something like COVID disrupt the middle of that and completely throw everything into complete disarray. So, first thing, validate the problem that you're going to solve. What is it that you do that makes a difference? And from my medical conferences, when I first started, I was Dan. I was nobody. And nobody wanted to work with me. Nobody knew who I was. So I had to do a lot of stuff for free for people. So I would trade things, technology plays, for someone to get on my stage, things like that. You charge the startups a fee to come speak at your event, and then you bring the investors in and you wine and dine the investors. You give them a free meal, give them plane tickets, things like that, to woo them because they have checkbooks to get to your event. So again, what is the problem that you're trying to solve right now? Now, don't get confused, guys. This could be a food truck. It could be, hey, I make really good tacos, Dan, but I just want to get to market and I want to get them out there. And food is difficult right now. What you're starting to see in different municipalities is you're starting to see a crackdown on unlicensed food vendors. I was blown away at Anaheim Stadium where the Angels play, Los Angeles Angels play. And there would be food vendors at the end of each game, and they would just set up 50 different little, skillets and start cooking hot dogs and things like that, and was blown away. Well, now the city of Anaheim got so much heat for this. Like, hey, these people are unlicensed. Are they cooking under sanitary conditions? To where they went out and they started to arrest people, write them tickets, and even do much crazy things like pour bleach on their food, so it was no one could eat it. Okay, so it was crazy. But a food truck has a limited, market, a limited life. It doesn't mean it's not going to be good, but it just means that there's not going to be, we're going to have a food truck that's going to do $48 million worth of work. It's not going to happen. Now, you have to have a business plan, and the business plan has got to be something that can explain exactly what you do from beginning to end. It does not have to be 300 pages. In fact, I have seen people raise a tremendous amount of money that had 12 and 15-page business plans. I have an investor friend who I'll talk about him in a minute. And he would take people's business plans and just butcher them. Listen, I'm going to take a red pen to this thing. Don't be offended. This is what you need to get rid of, and this is where you need to strengthen this, this, and this. And saw him take 64-page business plans and turn them into 12. And I saw a guy do that once and raise $600,000. So it helps. You need to have a good business plan. If you don't know how to write a business plan, get the solutions and have somebody help you do that. There's so many different AI programs. Now think about this. Don't have AI write your business plan. You know what you're solving. You know what you're talking about. You have to do this on your own. And Dan, I'm so bad at this. I'm so bad at typing. Voice text it. Voice text it and do that and get your message out there. But have a detailed plan on what the problem is, what the solution is, and what the market is. Now, I met people in the medical and medtech space that would not do things unless they were, think about this number, $250 million market cap to $600 million. That's where they would start. We'll talk to you. If you're under that, we're not interested in even having, coffee with you. I met a man that created a hernia mesh product. And he's like, Dan, I just can't get any money. Why? Well, our market cap is only $70 million. Think about what I just said, $70 million for this hernia market cap that the guy thought he could get to market in 12 to 14 months. It's like, wow, everybody's got to hit a home run, but they just can't do a base hit. Going back to the food truck scenario, I was at Anaheim Stadium when the Angels played the Dodgers. And there was a food truck there, and they would let them in because when the crowds were huge, like sellouts, which were rare for Anaheim Stadium, they would bring 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, food trucks inside the stadium that you would help with the flow of food and things like that. Well, they brought an empanada guy in, and it was insane. The food was great. The empanadas were expensive. They took, tape and put it over their prices and raised the prices to $8 a piece. It was nuts. So we bought them, and my date and I are like, oh my God, this is so good. Go back and get more. So you really like them? Pull the guy to the side. I said, this is crazy that they let you in here. Yeah, they're charging us a percentage. But what I did, I'm really proud of myself, is that I said, what has been our best 2 days that we've had in the last year? Their team figured it out. And then the guy doubled it for the Angels and the Dodgers. And he said, I'm going to sell out today. So again, invest in a guy like that. The food was fantastic, but he's not selling $20 million or $70 million worth of food. He's selling empanadas, but he's making a good living with that and would be something wise to invest in because of the quality of the food. And it's different, it's clean, it's everything. Know your customer, know who you're selling to. People sit there and say, oh, I'm raising money and everybody's our customer. No, they're not. Not everybody likes it. Not everybody likes me. You know what I mean? People don't like the Angels. People don't like the Dodgers. People don't like, the Toronto Blue Jays. Not everybody likes everything. So you got to know exactly who's going to be buying this product before you even try to get it on the market and have that answer. But know these answers intimately. We've all seen Shark Tank, and they paraphrase this stuff. And I have been told by people that have been on Shark Tank that they had an hour and 45-minute conversations that get whittled down to 6 minutes. And wow, really, what'd they take? Oh, it was, made it look like there was all this tension where they just loved the idea, but just had question after question after question. So your team, you need to have a capable team, and it can be just you. Please understand this. If your team is just you, if you are a one-man band, one-woman show, don't let that discourage you if you've got the right answers for everything. Because I saw a guy do this once with a product, and he says, I want to bring the right biotech engineer, I want to bring the right marketing team in, sales, and I don't want to just put names out there for you guys. And that guy got his product to market. So, the amount of money that you're going to need. Now, here's the thing. What is a realistic amount of money that you're going to need to make this happen? And again, this is not to piss away. Money is fuel. Money is not something, oh my gosh, I'm going to go out and rent an office. I saw a young man in his 20s that went out and had a very good idea for an incubator for the medical and biotech space. but then went out and rented a 15,000 square foot office. Dan, when you drive down the 15 freeway, you can see my office. Okay, well, I'll look for the for lease sign, is what I told him, and it completely pissed him off. But I said, that's the biggest waste of money. I don't care where you have your office at. I don't care. So think about that. Show traction early. Have you had any sales? Can you sell anything? Can you create? What's the prototype look like? Is it something simple? I always say this. Imagine you're explaining this. When my mother was alive, I would say, imagine you're explaining this to my mom and you explain exactly what you do. Now, there's a difference between my mother and a scientist and my mother and an FDA engineer. You have to understand, how can you explain this so that you can get this money? Now, you know, you have to craft a compelling pitch. And once again, if you are not good at talking to people, get somebody to help you. Get somebody to be the front man as far as the presentation. Guys like me that can sit there and learn everything about what you do and talk. The single best presentation that I ever saw was a guy that was the biotech pharma guy who they would make it so that they could craft daily prescriptions for pharmaceuticals, so people with dementia or older people, did I take my pills today? And it would be printed on there what day you were supposed to take it and spit it out there. They had a marketing guy answer all the questions, and they would get to the science side. He would step in, and it was brilliant. And I always told these guys, I've ran into them several times, and they raised money, and it was a very expensive product, but that was the best presentation I ever saw with two people. The other presentation I saw was one guy that was a CEO for hire, temporary CEO that they would bring in. And Michael was a guy that would come in for 3 months, 6 months, get the company going, had a track record of success, and then you would bring somebody else in. And again, he knows his place. Maybe he gets a small percentage of the company, gets a decent salary for 3-6 months, and runs the joint. But wow, you got him, he's respected. Now, as far as money, there are rich individuals. There are angel investors and rich individuals. You can look these people up. Living here in Orange County, California, before COVID, it was one of the largest and fastest growing angel investor and venture capitalist, VC, areas in the country. So we had all these different banks and all these different people that were coming out of the woodwork that would go to events like mine, and they would, put up money. This is what we were interested in. I have one friend who started out just because this guy was a nice guy. His name is Daniel too. Daniel works with an investment firm, and they have an incubator where you apply. This is what our technology is. This is what we do. And then they would let you see if you could go to their school on how to raise money and how to flourish and promote your product. You get what's happening there? They are going to help you sell your product, but also they have all this money. They have $500 million behind them. So when they have the competition and the top 3 people win, what do you think they do? Hey, listen, we have an investment for you because we want part of that. You see what they're doing? A lot of people do that. MedTech Innovator does that. A lot of great people do that. I don't care what industry you are in. If you have a startup, these are great places to be at. When I had my first medical conference, I laid out a plan because I did one-day events. And I laid out a plan on technology, biotech, FDA, money, marketing, everything. And the one thing I could not get was an investor, a good investor, somebody people would be respected and someone that people would bring in. And I reached out to a friend of mine. And again, I met a lot of people doing this. Scott Hamilton is a man that owns ENP, Executive Next Practices. He runs an event company, basically a competitor of mine. But I met this guy and I said, Scott, Mr. Hamilton, always wanted to meet you. And I just want to tell you, your website's amazing. And I love your events. And his events were inexpensive, guys. He would do daytime morning events where they'd have coffee, bagels, and stuff like that. But he would get 300 people there at $55 a piece. And it was so good. And he's such a great guy. And I just told him, I wanted to meet you. If you ever have time, let's sit down and have coffee. Well, how about now? How about right now? How about we have coffee right now? So I sat in this guy's office for 45 minutes talking about my history, my past, what I was doing, and he was great. He was fantastic. But from that meeting, asking him for nothing other than, hey, let's talk, I got to go out and have this man on my team. Now, what did I do? Hey, when I have my first event, I'm going to have you speak there. What did he do? Talk and promote his company. And I was totally cool with that because, it was different than what I did. So does that make sense? I hope it does. Now, here I am about 10 days before my first event, and I'm getting investors, and they're just that was the one area. I had doctors and I had really prominent people that were going to speak from very large medical companies, but I could not get a good investor that would be respected and that people could get. And I just, I had one guy who was like, listen, on your second event, I'll show up. I'm not doing the first event. What if this thing fails? What if this thing doesn't go together? I'm like, we sold 100 tickets already. It's going to go together. Well, we'll see. Call me on the second one. Okay? Now, I'll tell you a story about him in a second. But I called Scott and I said, I really need your help, sir. Please, do you have anybody that you can talk to that could be an investor, that could get in front of the crowd, that could, be in front of the crowd, run a panel, and promote, and wrangle the SBA, because the SBA, the number 2 lady at the SBA agreed to be there. And again, she was like, well, we better have a crowd here if I'm going to be up on that stage, Dan. I don't want to embarrass myself. These people were horrible. Understand? They were not easy to work with. So he says, oh, I got the guy for you, Ken Hubbard. Let me, I said, please do me a favor. I'm going to ask you a favor here. Please call him now. Don't send him an email and have me stew, because I've got to solve this problem immediately. Picks up the phone. He called him, calls me back in like 6 minutes and said, Ken wants to have you call him. So I called Ken, and Ken's like, hey man, I love your website. I love what you're doing. I'll be there. What time? Oh, it's 11:40 in the morning. We're going to do it right before the 12:30 lunch. You're going to have that break and you're going to talk. Okay, great. And he killed it. But not only that, he's become a great friend during this time. And he said something, and I'm a sentence guy. Things that stick in my head that I remember it like it was yesterday. And I used this little clip on the advertising. And he said, for you startups, you better get good at raising money, because you're going to be doing it over and over and over again. Now, you've seen Shark Tank, and you've seen these people go out there and give, oh, I went to friends and family and they own 55% of my company. Don't do that, guys. Seriously decide who you want to take money from, who you want as a partner. The great thing about the TV show Landman right now is the son of the main character goes out and gets money from basically organized crime in the Texas area, and he's a partner. And it's like, do you really want this person as a partner? You think they'll really get cut down to 18%? They're going to want to own everything. You have to know who and where the money's coming from. Rich individuals, what they call family offices, these are places that they invest money for rich people. Now, living here in Southern California, there's a lot of rich people here, guys, tons. And they love having different places like this raise money for them. Look them up. Look them up. This is easier to do than you think. You just need to be thorough. It's that simple. And again, I have people that do this wrong all of the time to me. Hey man, I got the greatest opportunity ever. It's going to revolutionize and change the world. Really? Do you have a business plan? I don't need a business plan. Once you hear it, people will be begging me to throw money at you. Okay, good luck. I had a real estate play that somebody sent me about how they were going to build houses for veterans. It was brilliant plan on paper, but I'm like, send me the business plan. Huh. You've seen it, Dan. You've seen the email I just sent you. The 2 paragraphs? Great. Wow. Where do we write a check for that? See what I'm saying? The incubators are good. There are tons of them around the country. I have a friend, Kirk, in Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska, and they have an incubator in Nebraska. So don't think, oh gosh, Dan, I don't live near anything. This guy does what I just told you. He develops technology. They had something for epilepsy that he developed, and it was they're raising $8 million and they had well over $100 million in market that they could get to immediately. Things like that, guys, get people's attention. Problem solving for epilepsy during surgery, that's a big deal. What do you want to do? Seriously. Now, I've seen people raise money for, dog care, pet care businesses. I've seen everything. And seen people raise money for films and entertainment. I am telling you, you have to go out there and just be thorough. Problem, solution, and the market size. Have a good business plan. Do not let AI write this for you. Do not kid yourself. Do not do that to yourself, because these people will sniff that out. The people with the $500 million of money, I had one guy who was like, you gotta just Dan, just introduce me. Just introduce me. We'll take care of it for there. Are you really ready? You're really ready for this? And he got clobbered in this meeting. He was embarrassed and sent packing halfway through his presentation because it was not thorough enough, and they had 1,000 questions that he could not answer, and it was embarrassing. Now, the problem with this, we'll just go back next year when we're ready. No, they're never going to speak to you again. Understand? You got one chance at dating the Bachelorette. That's it. Okay? Either you win, you get the rose, or you don't. It's that simple. But look for government money. Look for manufacturing. Many times doing this, there are people that think that money is the solution. We need money, like it's drugs. I gotta have money to do this. And then you have people that could generate a product, produce a product. Well, why don't you guys go get manufacturing? Why don't you go have somebody that can do distribution and make the product for you? Well, we want to control that. Well, wait a second. If they're going to spend $2 million to manufacture this product for you, and you're going to make, 26% instead of 100%, wouldn't that be better than putting up no money? Wouldn't you rather be rich and not have any stress than to try to figure this out? Now, I had people do it both ways. Yeah, I'll take the stress. And then things like COVID hit. And you know what they're doing? They're like, yeah, I'm going to the stars. I got a new idea. Understand that, guys. Problem, solution. Tell you a quick story to end this. And a friend of mine came to me with somebody that wanted to run and buy a blueberry farm in Georgia. And I'm like, wow, I don't do that. So I went to Ken and told him everything. Took all the detailed notes, everything to Ken. Who can we get? Ken introduces us to a guy who's an SBA expert, funding expert, branding expert, all this stuff, and just could raise the money. It was going to be between $6 and $10 million. We go out and raise the money. We get the money for this guy. And we're like, hey, you need to make this offer by October 1st, latest December 1st, because you don't want to miss the season for blueberries. So we're going back and forth, and this guy just will not commit. And then it falls apart. And we're like, what was wrong with this guy? Come to find out that the guy who was buying the business brought the seller into these private meetings on the phone, on the speakerphone, and he would listen to us. And then he'd sit there and make notes like, no, I'm not taking that. And eventually it was like, why would you do that? Why would you bring the seller into this as we're trying to negotiate the price, the terms, everything? Oh, I just wanted transparency. Not with us. Understand this. This guy got nothing. This guy has nothing. He should have gotten sued for what he did with us. But the point is that deal with professional people, guys. Have the right questions. If you can sit down with somebody, sit down with them. Now, understand this. Your money may come from out of state. It may come from some other place. And you may have to have Zoom meetings. Just be clear and concise with who you're talking to. If you need to have NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, you can do that. Don't think that you're going to sit there. Listen, I want everybody that works at your company to sign these things. My favorite one was Dan. My first event had 130 people at that one event that Ken showed up at, and it got to well over 300 people. The guy that stiffed me, I want to make sure I add this, that showed up is like, hey, I'm ready. I heard you had a really good turnout, and I should have shown up. Yeah, you should have. And well, listen, just let me know what time and I'll be there. My events were different, guys. I insisted that the speakers were there all day. I don't care who you were. The number 2 guy for the National Small Business Administration, Brian O'Byrne. Dan, I'm the guy you limo in 15 minutes before the talk, and then I wave and leave. No, 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 Brian. Then don't do. Thank you, sir. I'm going to reject you speaking. Well, he spoke and was blown away by it. But the point is that you don't have a plan. This guy, I told him if he ever wanted to come to my event in the future, he could pay the $349 for the day, for the ticket. That's what it was. It went up to $400 at one point. Anyways, that felt good. Okay. Incubators, startup groups, different people. Don't give up anything. Don't pay for anything. Do it for free. Do it for free. Do it for free. And have a plan. Okay? Problem, solution, and market size. Remember that. Okay? And it doesn't matter how big or how small it is. Just come up with a good plan. Okay? I hope this was helpful.